What made a successful episode was how funny the idea was, and that's it in a nutshell. You know, for example, a show like the puffy shirt that had this idea of a low talker saying something and Jerry kind of nodding along.
Sure?
Oh, yeah.
I had dinner with this woman who was a low talker, and I thought it would be very funny if she asked me to do it, because I kept nodding along. After a while, I stopped saying, I'm sorry, what was that? You just get tired of saying it. You know, could you please speak up? You say it once or twice, but then you just give in and go, oh, you know, and you just pretend that you understand what she's saying. So I could have agreed to anything that night.
Larry was looking for the thing that she was going to whisper, some garment or something that I was going to have to wear. And I remember exactly where I was standing in the lunchroom, and I remember the doorway that he was standing in when he told me, what about one of those puffy shirts? And of course, you know, we both knew instantly that was perfect.
Since you agreed to wear the puffy shirt on the Today Show, she's getting all these orders from boutiques and department stores.
Since I what?
Agreed to wear the puffy shirt.
What are you talking about?
When you said that you would agree to wear the puffy shirt on the Today Show.
And then the work began on creating the puffy shirt.
Larry said, you know, we kind of want it to look like a pirate shirt. And so I thought, okay. So I went out and I went around to all these rental houses and got some of these, like the Errol Flynn shirts. I call them Errol Flynn shirts, but from Warner Brothers. And I brought all these shirts in, and they said, well, we like this collar and we like this ruffle.
Because those shirts are never quite as puffy as they don't look quite as puffy as we wanted it to look, so then we had to, like, build wires into the sleeves to puff it out.
I kind of thought we would be changing the sleeve because it was really kind of goofy, but it flew.
I can't wear this puffy shirt on TV. I mean, look at it. It looks ridiculous.
Well, you gotta wear it now. This is gonna be the new look for the 90s. You're gonna be the first pirate.
But I don't want to be a pirate.
I think that's one of Jerry and Michael's best scenes, too, about, you know, you look like a pirate. I don't want to be a pirate. You know, it's just that childish 3-year-old mentality.
When we did the puffy shirt episode, Jerry was to appear on the Today Show, so we said, well, let's go to the Today Show. It's an NBC show. So Larry and Jerry and I flew to New York, and we shot the scene. Their guys did it for us. They did it as they would do any normal interview, and we brought the tape home and edited it.
And speaking of clothing, that is a very, very unusual shirt you have on.
Yeah.
You're all kind of puffed up.
Yeah, it's a puffy shirt.
You look kind of like a pirate.
Yeah, like a pirate.
John Randolph had played George's father for the first time in an episode that was called The Handicap Spot. And then the following season, I don't know if John wasn't available or something about something made us want to change the actor, and so we brought in Jerry Stiller.
When it was announced that he was going to be playing my father, my anticipation was huge, just huge.
I got Frank Costanza almost like when my life was disappearing as an actor. I was close to that 7-decade mark, and one day I got a call. They wanted me to come in as the father on Seinfeld. I says, what is Seinfeld?
Jerry did not audition for the part because he was in New York, and this was probably the first time that we flew an actor in from New York to do a role on the show without ever seeing him audition.
I knew Estelle Harris the minute I walked on the set. She reminded me of my father's third wife, and I didn't have to act with Estelle. I knew where things were with us from the moment she opened her mouth.
He's the maniac now. He's taking over, and I can be more prim and proper, and we gelled. I always knew you had beautiful hands. I used to tell people, Frank, didn't I used to talk about his hands?
Who the hell did you ever mention his hands to?
I mentioned his hands to plenty of people.
You never mentioned it to me.
Georgie, would you like some Jell-O?
Why'd you put the bananas in there?
George likes the bananas!
So let him have bananas on the side!
All right, please!
please! I cannot have this constant bickering!
When Jerry Stiller started to appear on the show, I just loved him instantly.
The first day I got on the set, Larry David said to me, Jerry, you're going to be working with Estelle, and she's kind of loud and obstreperous, and we'd like you to have a contrast, you know, the meek, the guy who's subdued, because that'll be very funny. It'll work good. And the other thing he said I want you to do, he says, I want you to wear a bald wig, because George is partially bald, and it would look good that the father has the bald wig. And being new and knowing that there was one actor that had been replaced, I said, oh, sure, I'll go along with it. For 4 days, I went along with this, and Estelle was screaming at me, you're the one who ruined this life, you're the one who did this. And I went along, and I was very meek, and I was very out of it. And I felt by the 4th day that I, too, would be replaced as this actor, because nothing was happening. I could feel this. So almost out of desperation, on the day of the shoot, the afternoon, the cameras were ready, the crew was there, and she started screaming at me.
George likes the bananas!
So let him have bananas on the side!
All right, please! Please! I cannot have this constant bickering!
And Larry David looked at me and said, that's it, keep it that way.
He comes in, and he is, of course, he's brilliant, and he doesn't even know why he's brilliant.
What really amazed me was Jerry, Julie Louis, Michael, and Jason gathered around the camera. They formed a little semicircle, and it separated me from the audience. They stood there like they were holding me, like I was in, I felt like I was in the womb, and they were protecting me, telling me, we love you, you're going to be good, you're going to be wonderful. And I swear, I never saw actors behave in that manner in all the time I've been in theater, and it shocked me.
Most of the Jerry Stiller technique as Frank Costanza is his ongoing battle to try and remember the lines. And they would come to him in pieces, and they would come out of him in pieces in a very sort of psychotic way. You're telling me that I mean, it's not a planned reading. It's just as it's entering his brain what he has to say.
Would you believe when I was 18, I had a silver dollar collection? You know, I couldn't bring myself to spend one of these. I got some kind of a phobia.
And the two of them together, he and Estelle together, I mean, it was just that whole season, you know, when they said you're gonna, George moves back home, I went, it's more time with Jerry and Estelle, you know, it's...
Yeah, he really had some nuts for parents, George Costanza.
When I heard that they were removing Lincoln's bloodstained shirt to put ours in place of it, I was very flattered, and I thought it was time to move on from that assassination. I can't believe this. How did I get here? Well, I can't even tell you the pride that I feel being the focal point of what has to be the most embarrassing moment in the history of the Smithsonian Institute. This is truly a new low. And I couldn't be more proud to have my name plastered all over it. It is quite something. I was saying to somebody earlier that I think this might be the first joke that has been inducted into the museum. This is really nothing but a joke. Yeah, we have received many wonderful honors, but this is certainly unique and special, and a gigantic thrill for me that we would be considered not only part of show business history, but American history, and that's what it means to be included in the collection of this museum.